Hello and welcome to the Skydival channel, and today I'd like to show you guys my brand new super budget $300 gaming PC called Volt version 3. So if you're looking for a super budget gaming PC that has some comparable 1080p gaming performance and can be easily upgraded in the future if you want even more performance, say if you are a first-time PC gamer and you want to test out the water, see which games you like, and eventually put in a dedicated graphics card into this system to get even more gaming performance, then Volt version 3 is a $300 PC worth considering. Not only have I tried my best to maximize this system, because I'll be providing a $300 baseline version of Volt v3, but I'll also provide an upgraded $350 version of Volt v3 if you want a bit more gaming performance and a bit more future-proof in your parts. But I've also done some cheap modding, as you can see with the power supply and SSD, if you want to kind of make your $300 gaming PC a little bit more special than what it actually is. So in today's video, I'll be covering the parts list, the benchmarks, some upgrades, a few building tips here and there, as well as some benchmarks and my final pros and cons of Volt version 3. And yes, this computer you're about to see is good from now in 2019 even into 2020, especially if AMD hasn't released their 4th gen APUs yet, which I don't think those will be coming out until 2021. So this build right here is going to be quite updated and probably won't be changed for a long time because it'll still be the best there is for $300. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take a quick word from our sponsor. If you're looking for a cheap way to activate your gaming PC with an official Windows 10 license, then I recommend looking at one of those keys from VIPSEDkey.com. They're an online vendor full of a ton of Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Pro, as well as game keys for a very inexpensive price, which is why I was able to activate Volt version 3 right behind me, as you can see, for only $13 pretty quick and easy, like in under 2 minutes. So if you're looking for a cheap way to officially license your PC so you can get rid of that annoying watermark in the bottom right of your screen, then go ahead and check out VIPSEDkey.com. And don't forget to use the discount code VIPSCATTER, which will give you 12% off of your next order and get you a Windows 10 Pro key for approximately $13. So if you want to check them out, click the link at the top of the description. So first, before I begin, I want to mention that all the parts for Volt version 3 can be found in the description below this video, so you can check out the prices and see where they're at. So starting off with the APU. Yes, if you haven't figured out by now, this is using the Ryzen 3200G, which is a combination between a CPU and a GPU, which explains why there isn't an actual graphics card inside of this PC, which is actually kind of a good thing if you're wanting to upgrade this system later on. But anyways, the CPU portion of this really cheap processor is 4 cores, 4 threads. It can go up to 3.7 gigahertz and can be overclocked. And the GPU portion, which is the Vega 8 graphics, at stock is 1400 megahertz, but can also be overclocked to a pretty good extent, as I found out with my own testing. So this right here, I think, is a pretty awesome baseline processor that is on the AM4 socket. So if you wanted to, you could upgrade to a Ryzen 2600, 3600X, whatever in the Ryzen 3rd gen or 2nd gen range that you want, because this is going to start you off on the AM4 platform, which is a really awesome thing to do if you're a PC gamer in 2019. And now for the motherboard, I've chosen another budget option, which is the MSI B450M Pro M2 Max. Now this is the cheapest motherboard I found on Amazon that can support Ryzen 3rd gen out of the box. That is confirmed. That is why it's called Max, because it is the Max series of basically a refresh of MSI's line of B450 motherboards that can support processors like the Ryzen 3200G. But again, this is $75, micro ATX, it's cheap, and it does the job, but I do have some opinions on it, which I'll be covering at the end of the video. And for the RAM, you can basically go with any 8GB dual channel kit that is clocked in at 3200 megahertz. And I want to emphasize that you try to get a RAM frequency that is as close to 3200 megahertz out of the box, because you can set that as an XMP profile in the BIOS and get the most gaming performance out of your Ryzen processor, since Ryzen chips love high frequency memory. So go ahead, do yourself a favor, get a 3200 megahertz kit and not one of those slower 2400 megahertz kits. And for the SSD, I went with one of the cheapest ones on Amazon, that being this ADATA that I got for 240 gigs for about $25. So it's very inexpensive and kind of one of the only ones I could have gone for a $300 budget build like this. You can totally go with a more expensive and higher premium one if you want, but for the moment, my experience with this 240 gig SSD has been alright. The boot times have been decently quick and installs on games have been alright as well. But yes, it is covered in carbon fiber mesh, which I'll be explaining that later. And on the note of that, for the power supply, I've chosen the Seasonic 450 watt bronze power supply. Now, admittedly, this is the perfect amount of wattage for this system, but if you wanted to get a graphics card later on that's dedicated, like an RX 5700 or an NVIDIA GTX 1660 Super or any of the NVIDIA or AMD graphics cards, you will probably need more wattage, so look at a 600 watt or 550 watt power supply, but for the moment this will do, and yes, it is also wrapped in carbon fiber mesh. And then for the case, as you can see, I've chosen the Cooler Master Masterbox Lite 3.1. This is a budget $40 case on Amazon, which may be $50 now, which makes me kind of sad because it is a nice looking case, but it's micro ATX, it's budget, it's pretty alright to build in, and it does the job for its price. And if you're wondering about the carbon fiber tape that I am using, I'm using this 5 foot by 1 foot from this one brand on Amazon that I believe I got for under 10 bucks, so pretty inexpensive, and the actual application of this was not as bad because you can peel it off, put it on anything, draw it out, cut it out, even with a pair of scissors, and it's pretty alright. So that being said, the base total of the baseline system is about $300, and let me go ahead and talk about that upgraded version of Volt version 3, which is $350. So the two main differences between my upgraded and baseline versions of Volt version 3 is that the upgraded version has more RAM, that being 16 gigs of 3200 megahertz memory, where you can have more integrated graphics memory dedicated to the Vega 8 graphics on the 3200G, because that'll leave you with 14 gigs left, which is so much memory to work with. And it's also clocked at 3200 megs, which is also a good thing. But additionally, for the CPU cooler, you can get a budget cooler like this Arctic Freezer 33, which is the esports edition, and you can get this thing for $30. It's incredibly inexpensive. It has a black heatsink, which I think is actually kind of a cool aesthetic thing for its price, because most other budget coolers in its price range are silver and look kind of out of place in a really blackout system like this. So this is a nice option to look at if you want to overclock that 3200G for more performance. So a quick note about overclocking for those who are interested, I'd only do it on the upgraded version of Volt version 3, the $350 version, because you have that dedicated aftermarket CPU cooler. Because the stock cooler that comes with the 3200G is quite scrawny and not as good as the 3400G, so only do it again on the upgraded version. But with that being said, overclocking this is actually not that bad, since all the overclocking is done on one chip, since the graphics and CPU are on the 3200G. So to start off with, first for your RAM, go ahead and set the XMP profile to that 3200 megahertz preset, which you should have by default in your BIOS. That's pretty easy to do. And then go back into the BIOS and go ahead and go into your advanced CPU options, and then change the integrated graphics clock frequency to about 1700 megahertz with a voltage of about 1.3. Now again, your mileage may vary because all chips are made differently, so the tolerance of overclocking on my 3200G could be totally different from yours, so you could possibly go higher, maybe to like 1800 at 1.3, or maybe yours might not be as good as mine and could be having a lot of like fracting on screen, and you might have to go lower to like 1650 at 1.3, or maybe 1.28 if you're putting in too much voltage inside of that chip. But for the most part, I think a lot of you will be alright at 1700 megahertz at either 1.28 volts or 1.3 volts. So you're gonna have to experiment around with it, but you will see some noticeable gains, since overclocking the integrated graphics on that 3200G actually result in some pretty sizable increases in frames per second. Anyways, I'm about to show you the benchmarks, which are the baseline versus overclock specs of Volt version 3, so you can kind of get an idea if you want to go with the baseline version for 300, or maybe consider getting that RAM and aftermarket CPU cooler for an extra 50 bucks. So I'll go ahead and let you guys decide that, but with all that being said, here are the benchmarks. So those are the benchmarks, and I hope you enjoyed them. But now I'm going to go ahead and give you some closing thoughts on Volt version 3. And I'm going to do that with some pros and cons. And I'll start with the cons. So if you wanted, you could get away with the motherboard I used in this build, but there were some drawbacks. That being that there's only one dedicated fan port on the motherboard, which is quite sad because I had to use like a fan splitter to get those two front fans to work on Volt version 3, which was kind of a hassle. And I believe if you went with the more expensive $5 more expensive B450M Pro VHD, I believe that has more fan ports on it, which could allow for issues like that not to happen. So if you wanted more fans, I wouldn't get this motherboard. And also, unfortunately, the RGB port on this motherboard doesn't let you change the colors of fans like that in the front, which is really upsetting because it's a 12-port port. So I don't know why that didn't work. Maybe it's just an MSI software thing, but I think that's something that the B450M Pro VHD can also solve as well. So I wouldn't get this motherboard. I just spend the extra $5 for the B450M Pro VHD, which I'll have linked in the description. And I guess one other thing is that I thought that going with the Masterbox Lite 3.1 case would result in a pretty decent, cool looking system. But in my personal opinion, there are better cases for $40, like the Deepcool Matrix 50, which you can get off of Amazon as well. And that case is fantastic because it has a PSU shroud, which can allow you to hide your power supply and all of your cables, and has a cleaner interior than this. And also it was a bit easier to build in because that is an ATX case and this is a micro ATX case, so it does get cramped. As you can see in the footage, I have a CPU cable hooked up to the CPU power on the motherboard that goes across the whole top left of the PC case, and that was quite the hassle. So unless you really want this case, I personally look at the Matrix 50 case, which I'll also have linked in the description if you want to be a better and easier case to work in that also kind of is just a better quality. And as far as the pros, I am surprised by the gaming performance, especially on that 3200G, and even with it overclocked, you can actually do some pretty decent 1080p gaming performance well above 60 frames per second. But again, this is a $300 system, and it is without a dedicated graphics card, so you can get even more frames per second if you slap in a GTX 1660, RX 580, RX 5700, RTX 2060, you name it. You can get even more performance if you put in a dedicated graphics card, which is great in this system because you can kind of like test the waters and see which PC games you actually like and that you don't like. Which then, for the ones that you do like, you can research on Google or on YouTube what are the best optimal graphics cards for them. look it up, get it, and then make sure that your power supply has enough wattage for it. But I guess if you did want a graphics card upgrade for the system, like that was going to cost about $170 or $200, I wouldn't even bother messing with trying to build Volt version 3. I just go ahead and jump right to my $500 Spectre version 2 PC, because that has a 6-core processor and a lot of other banger specs in a really awesome case. So my personal opinion, if you wanted to get a dedicated graphics card that is above like $200, I would just go ahead and build Spectre version 2. I wouldn't mess with Volt version 3. But with that being said, this is a $300 system. It can't do all the things, but I think for the most part, for its price, it gives you a pretty damn good solid entry into PC gaming, especially in the 1080p game realm, for an inexpensive price. So that is it for today's build video. Thank you so much for watching, and this is the Scatterable channel, signing out.